on me.
It's a weirdly good Michael McDonald.
I'm
kind of impressed.
me on. I'll pick on. I keep trying to talk in the microphone to say, welcome, residents.
Into your...
Nope, never gonna
A
happen.
little taste of the old interruption medicine.
Yeah. Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast.
Welcome, residents.
My name is Colin, and next to me is the doctor himself.
Hello.
And as always, we are joined by our producer, Michael McDonald. Oh, welcome to the show right now. Each week, we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while fielding questions from listeners like you.
Ahoy, hoy.
While I realize my crown, and I'm down, 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 and I'm a stone. I'm a stone out of time. Jesus, another one from K-Cross 202? Is this for real?
No, it's not actually. I forgot to change it. It's from Stump Chunkman.
Well, can you please read the rest of what?
Because I put it very quickly together.
Great podcast, questions, and blah, blah. Is that Stumpy?
It was Stumpy. I don't know if everything is...
Yeah, that one's from Stump.
Stump says, let's say thank you again, Stump Chunkman, for your input.
Yeah.
Great podcast for anyone who may have any questions regarding past plot points or characters, or are a newer comic reader who doesn't have a seasoned reader/collector in their friends group. If this were a rated dog, they'd get 12 out of 10 stars. Is that a website?
I feel like it's like slightly a knock on your bad rating system.
Yeah, I think it might be.
Well, you never do an out of 10 system if you're doing a rate a dog system.
Well, but if you were...
it's called best in show, oh no.
Also, if this was a your rating system, it would be like, how many out of 10? B-.
That's true.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
And now on to news. Joker's origin movie lands fall 2019 release date.
Yeah, I mean, it's happening. It's a low... Well, for a superhero-related movie, it's a low budget. It's like $50 million.
Oh,
Thank God.
that's it?
But people were like, oh my God, it's moving so quickly. But like, if it's a toned down or less CGI heavy, and this one's going to be, it's probably more like sort of mob kind of oriented if it's about the Joker. So because of that, it's a lot easier to move into production. So this is the one that's directed by Todd Phillips, that stars Joaquin Phoenix, that isn't part of like the worlds of DC universe.
Wow, there's
the DCEU. This is one that kind of stands on its own, and it's going to happen. We're going to see it in the fall. And that's kind of interesting, too, because then, like, a couple of months later, we'll get the sequel to Wonder Woman as well. So we get Shazam in the spring, we'll get this Joker movie, and then we'll get Wonder Woman 1984.
2019 is the year of DC. Are we getting any Marvel in 2019?
Avengers 4.
Oh, are we getting it that
and
soon?
Captain Marvel, I think.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Jake Napier.
Jack.
I don't know.
Napier.
Jake Napier?
Nope. Jake
Napier sounds cooler.
But
maybe he should have changed his name to Jake.
And also change his last name?
I think in college, when he wanted to fit in, he might have been Jake.
Hey,
yeah, call me Jake.
Jake Napier.
I don't know. Jack's pretty sweet.
Let's get some brew dogs. I'm Jake.
Oh, no. Oh, you've been listening to too much Doughboys.
I know, but brew dogs.
Anyways, Jack Napier, no more. Joker receives a new name.
I think it's Arthur. Yeah, it's Arthur Fleck is going to be the Joaquin Phoenix's character name before he becomes the Joker.
Which, I mean, the only other time we've gotten that was from the 89 Batman.
Well, the Jack Napier one, yeah, that's the 89 Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Joker has used other aliases.
Where's this Arthur Fleck name coming from, though?
I don't know.
The mind of some sadistic writer from Hollywood.
But I think
Hollywood.
I think it's all right though, because it's just. I'm still holding out hope that we get to the end of this movie and they're like, or maybe this wasn't his origin.
Or maybe it's not.
Which I know people would be pissed off, but I've talked about it. The idea of a definitive origin of the Joker bothers me, but yeah, so yeah, just give him a random name. It's not like we've explored it in the comics before. He's used aliases before, but it's never been like who he was before he was the Joker. It's when he's he's already the Joker, and then he's trying to like hide in society, or he's stopped being the Joker for a bit. He's gone by some different names, but Arthur Fleck, as far as I know, is not one of them. That's a new name.
He's like, my name's Arthur Fleck.
He's looking around the room, doing that whole thing, like collecting pieces of
Right.
information. And a fleck of dust. Robert De Niro's potential role in the movie.
Yeah, so he's also potentially going to be in this. He's been up for the role.
I sort of assumed that he would be playing some sort of like mobster, but I think
It's a talk show host.
Yeah, he's like some kind of talk show host.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a talk show host that the Joker like basically like takes some of his personality from witnessing him.
Oh, so he's like a bit of an inspiration.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So people are going to think that the Joker is Robert De Niro's character.
I don't know, or if it's just like mannerisms,
Yeah.
like he was obsessed with this talk show host, and so that's kind of where he got a lot of his characters. So they're doing that in Gotham. And
Did they have talk shows in the 40s?
Well, I don't know when this is being.
I actually
set.
don't know when this is set. That's an interesting point, though, too, is that we don't really have... It could be modern. Or
Come on,
it could
RD.
be-
Don't get locked into some bullshit plot point. It doesn't even exist in the timeline.
Yeah, De Niro.
But
Well, he's got to read the script and say yes or no.
I don't think
he.
he... I bet you De Niro doesn't read the script. I bet you De Niro just goes like...
Batman? About the Joker? Yeah, I'm in.
No, he's just like, how much can it fund...
On these shoes?
Will it help me fund Tribeca? Yes. Okay, I'll do it.
I'm the Joker. Hooah!
Pacino.
oh yeah, Pacino.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I mix up the two.
I like how you took Pacino's like famous catchphrase, the hoo-ah.
Yeah.
Like De Niro's never been that big. in
Which
any
apparently
performance
isn't
ever.
even like his catch. That's like a Marines thing or something.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a thing that American Marines do, but
What, hoo-ah?
yeah.
They do
Hoorah.
the Pacino thing?
Hoorah, but
No, it's their thing. And
hoorah. That's a yeah.
Oh, they didn't get it from Pacino.
Josh Gill, give us a hand here. Break this one up.
Was he a Marine?
Josh Gill? Oh, totes. You see that body? God damn. He's
No.
got to have been a Marine.
Definitely not. I know.
Josh,
I'm slowly putting together my Josh wiki, so I.
Right. So, Josh, if you were a Marine, hashtag Marine Man. And if you weren't, hashtag...
Yeah. What is it?
Beers for the
What is it?
boys.
Hashtag
Yeah. Tell me.
naturally fit.
I think he worked for that body. You can tell.
He works
Girl
hard
worked for
for
that
his
body.
body.
Oh, so hard for it, honey. But yes, so he's. I mean, so they're doing the
And
sort
it
of.
ends there. Okay, that's cool.
They're doing sort of the inspiration to Joker in Gotham recently, with that character who's Joker, but apparently is.
Well, they've
Dude,
talked
say spoiler alerts. I'm like almost done season
you don't
2.
know what I'm talking
They've
about.
talked
so.
about
I know
how the
exactly what
characters that look like they are Joker are basically just going to be inspirations for the real Joker who is out there somewhere.
Yeah, we've also already said this news, so
I wasn't listening.
or we weren't here. Regardless, it doesn't make a difference.
Speed Force. Because Speed Force.
Yeah.
Same, yeah.
10-year anniversary of The Dark Knight. Jesus, it's been that long?
Right?
Yeah, so
Ooh.
the 10-year anniversary was on the 18th of July or something like that. Yeah, it's been a decade since The Dark Knight came out. If you haven't already, go back, listen to issue number 65, where we talk about the Nolanverse. But
You fucking corporate shill. I love it.
well, you know.
You just drink the company lemonade, don't you?
Well, what, you don't like that?
It's called
Fine,
It's called Kool-Aid.
We'll cut it out. Edit point. Shirts available at our merch store.
No, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that it's been 10 years since that movie came out.
I can't believe it been 10 years.
Thank you, Michael.
Rapid fire. Who were you dating 10 years ago?
10 years ago. Oh, my ex-fiance.
Your right hand. Oh.
Wait, you have an ex-fiance?
Yeah.
That's a weird thing to high five.
we thought we found love and then didn't.
In 2008, Colin was interested enough in this movie that he actually saw it, right? You said you saw The Dark Knight.
I didn't see it in theaters. I think I
Oh,
saw it like
shit, okay.
I
Take it
think I
down a
saw it like
notch.
2 years later. Someone had it on DVD or something. I was like,
Oh, I
"What's
see.
Dark Knight?" And I threw it in. And I was like, "Oh, it's a Batman thing."
Oh,
You turn off the light. Shut up.
I thought we had a window into like a Colin that was
Shut
more like willing to be a geek or whatever. In 2008, yeah.
This is 10 years ago. I was 21.
Yeah.
Wow. I think I was still definitely on drugs in 2008.
For the year?
Oh,
Like,
Oh, God. Me too.
Yeah, the whole year.
Wow, that tells how old we are.
I was in theater school.
So you too, huh?
You were on drugs and I was in theater school.
I wasn't on drugs.
Oh.
You weren't on drugs in 2008?
I've never done drugs.
Didn't you just say me too?
I was talking
was just
about
trying
the
to be a part of the
21
movie.
thing. I was talking about the age thing. Yeah, me
Oh.
too. I totally like to smoke the heroin.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Yeah,
All of it. You just all
casually
smoking it.
smoking.
Light that H.
Yeah, that's
So-
right.
Guy
You
rolls
get
a
to,
tight horse.
sniff those lines of marijuana.
We're so cool.
Yeah,
But yeah, happy 10th anniversary, Dark Knight.
you light a doob.
Oh, he's got one.
See, I know drugs.
Oh, yeah, by name or?
I know drugs.
I went to school with them. They were fun. Ah, God, let's get out of here. Batman will take a more magical turn in Batman Damned.
Yeah.
Yeah. He rides a unicorn.
Damn.
No.
I said, damn, Batman.
So Batman Damned is a book that's coming to that DC Black label, which is like more sort of mature, darker stories that aren't necessarily in continuity. I think the premise is that the Joker is dead, and then Batman is dealing with some sort of supernatural consequence of that.
Ooh.
I don't know too much more than that, but the art is by Lee Bermeo, and if you've read,
Mail.
he does like these super realistic, they almost look like paintings. But have you read like Batman Noel? Like
Yeah, okay.
he did the art for that one.
Oh, okay.
He also
I love
wrote
that.
he also
yeah.
wrote it, but
Wow.
but
That's
yeah,
awesome.
so he's doing the art for Batman Damned. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It won't be part of the continuity. It'll be its own story, its own sort of graphic novel.
Next on the news, Kelly Sue DeConnick diving into the world of Aquaman.
Are you excited about this,
Yeah.
Doc? Do you know her work?
Not as well as I would like.
Yeah.
But
Have we had a female writer for Aquaman before?
like ever?
Yeah.
He's going to get the female gaze for sure.
I actually don't.
Has Gail ever?
I don't 100% know. I don't think Gail's written, but we may have had briefly like a female writer on Aquaman before, but I'm not 100% on that. But I am excited. As much as I like the current Aquaman run, it's been like all about political intrigue and stuff like that. It's been like a slow story. And so I think it'll be good to get someone in that's going to like shake it up. And as far as I know,
Shake
the first sort of arc, I think
Like a
involves
Polaroid picture?
Yeah.
it involves Arthur on this sort of like lost island, and I think he might have lost some memories and things like that. So that's a good way of kind of not clearing out events from a character's history, but sort of giving a logical way to have a fresh take maybe on their personality or their outlook or things like that. So much has happened in Atlantis, like politically, since Rebirth, that I think it'll be nice to kind of pull Aquaman out of that world for a
Oh, what are you
little bit.
talking about? The one thing geeks love more than anything is political intrigue in their media.
I actually really like the current arc, but a lot
I'm
of
sure you
people
like.
hate
I'm sure you like midi-chlorians as well.
it. I don't. No, I don't.
Annie.
But yes, I am excited. It's always good at a certain point to shake up the creative team and get some like
Do you
fresh
think it's
perspective.
ready for a new
Absolutely.
change? Are we at a point where that you could make? Would you want to see like a dramatic shift in storyline, or do you want to continue? But it.
I think we're done with this story with Coram Wrath and the throne and all that stuff. I want to see Aquaman not worry about the throne of Atlantis for a little while.
Does he like what's this version of Aquaman? Because I'm not reading him right now. What like does he have a hand? What's going on?
He has both hands.
Yeah.
He still has the orange shirt, but he does have a beard and long hair.
And dolphin flippers.
Yeah, also those.
Yeah.
But everything else is
And
pretty
machine guns.
And a laser that comes out of his left eye.
normal. Okay, well now
Yeah.
now I'm interested.
And a patch on his right eye. Anyways,
How does he see?
DC makes it pretty clear that streaming shows do not all exist in the same universe. Yeah, conspiracy theorist nerds.
Well, I don't understand this thing where people like need everything to be in the same universe.
Because
Or the same
another
continuity.
large property has existed that way for a long time.
I
So.
know. Well, but DC's been around longer, and parallel Earths are like the thing DC's built on.
I know.
But people are like, no, it should tie together. Like, no, like it doesn't have to. They can be separate, and it's fine. I'm so like done.
I know,
with
and I
people
think
complaining about things not tying together.
I think this is the way that DC needs to run, anyways. Because when it tries to make this huge connected thing, it doesn't necessarily always hit it. So I find that like doing his individual stories is really what works. You can have like
some things can connect, like Shazam and Aquaman are part of the DCEU. That's fine. Titans, the TV show, doesn't have to be.
No.
Nor does Titans, the TV show, have to be in the same universe as the other live action TV shows on DC Universe, like
And
Swamp Thing and stuff like that.
I mean, technically, the Marvel Netflix shows are supposed to be part of the same universe, but so barely.
But this is precisely the point.
Yeah.
For something that is like said to be one universe, like what part of, I wouldn't say this is like a major criticism, but a thing that kind of disappointed me, at least a little bit, about Infinity War is that if it's really going to be the culmination of everything, I want to
Where's
see
Daredevil?
I want to see
Yeah.
fucking Coulson. I want Daredevil. I want Luke Cage. I want everything in there.
It's true.
Even if they're just in the background, fine. It's a big movie. You can't give them lines, but like you should see them.
Well, the
should
reality
show up,
is
they should show up in Wakanda or something.
For
right?
me, what I find tough is that they make Coulson such a pivotal character,
Yeah.
and yet when you actually do anything with that association, with that organization, what's it called, the Shield, like at the very end of Infinity War, they don't show him. Like I just feel like if he's such a big part of it,
Yeah. Well, and this is the thing. So yeah, they're technically connected, but like, what good is it doing? So,
Exactly, yeah.
I think it's better to let things kind of live in their own spheres. Some things will connect, like Titans and Doom Patrol will for sure connect because the one's spinning out of the other.
Yeah.
The Arrowverse is its own thing with its own kind of shows. The DCEU is its own thing. This Joker movie is its own thing. Like, I don't have a problem with that.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Batman the Animated Series, Blu-ray details announced.
Oh, I'm so stoked for
How many
this.
times do I have to buy the animated series?
But Blu-ray finally.
Well, and they've gone back and like really like remastered it.
Really?
It looks so good. I've seen some footage.
Oh,
It looks really.
it's
sharp.
still in like the square format, not the like.
It's still the like the original,
because they can't like add artwork that didn't.
but they
exist.
did some like digital like touching up. They made it like smoother. Like I think they added like the frame. They filled in the missing frames or whatever, like things like that. It flows very very smoothly. The colors are a little like retouched and things like that.
Plus, we're getting like Mask of the Phantasm. Like,
Yes,
you're getting everything.
And, Mr. Batman, Mr. Freeze, Sub-Zero,
Yeah.
all of those things are part of this like Blu-ray box set. So, yeah, I mean, if you're looking for another excuse to spend a ton of money on your favorite cartoon, this is a good one.
But also, Dr. DC has merch available on his website, so
Yeah,
choose wisely.
that's right. That's right.
Don't
Speed
spend
Force.
don't spend all your allowance on one little spot there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
spend it all with us.
We
Yes.
should have a t-shirt with me on it that just says Speed Force, and then I'm not actually on the t-shirt.
I mean,
Well, we already have that then.
yeah, it's the Because Speed Force shirt.
Oh, okay.
You're on it.
I
are you?
haven't checked the website. Clearly. Worlds of DC rebrand is fake news.
Fake news. Damn it.
we spent too much time with each other.
Damn it.
I know. Just as we were like, okay, finally.
So it's not
It's
called Worlds
bullshit.
of DC?
It's totally bullshit.
So where did that come from?
So it was at SDCC, but basically, like, it was just like a flourish to like.
just like, hey, welcome to our...
And
Yeah.
nobody noticed that Kellyanne Conway was the person at the booth.
I was gonna do an accent, but I actually have no idea what she
I don't know
sounds
what
like.
she sounds like either. I imagine she sounds like the guy from Tales of the Crypt.
We're now called Worlds of DC. I don't know. That's
Or, yeah, like Skeletor or something, yeah.
welcome to Worlds of DC.
So it was just like...
Hey man.
It was just a banner they put up, like, for their section of Comic-Con, and everyone was like, it must mean...
Yeah.
Right,
Okay, then let's not spend another minute on it.
No. But I thought like we finally thought we had it, and then we didn't have
So it's
it.
still DC.
Yeah. Well, it's still nothing at
Sure.
this point.
Who cares?
I mean, we do a little bit.
Well, why?
It's the only thing that matters.
It's all I have.
I'm just saying, if you didn't have a name for it before, and then someone gave you a fake-ass name for it, and it's still called nothing. then-
Yeah, but it's called Feelings or Hurt.
Colin, you got to be careful what you say. Like later, Richard's just gonna like lower a pistol into his mouth and just be like, "It's not Worlds of DC."
That's too quick.
I really don't think it's going to happen.
No, I'm gonna write Colin in my arms and sit in the bathtub.
Oh Jesus!
Well, whatever he needs to do. He didn't say what he's going to write it with. It could be a Sharpie for all we know.
That's true. Yeah, it's just a test run.
Uses crayons. That's not going to stick.
That's true.
That doesn't. Oh man.
Supergirl cast an iconic DC Comics character for season 4.
Mercy Graves.
So this is a bodyguard for Lex. Is that
Lex
what it is?
Luthor's bodyguard is Mercy Graves, and there have been some slightly different versions in the animated series. She was part robotic, like she had like a
really,
or sorry, maybe that's just in Young Justice. She was like
Mercy Graves is also a great band name, by the way.
So Mercy, yeah, it's true. Mercy Graves was sort of looked like a chauffeur in the original like Superman animated series. In Young Justice,
there's a band in Edmonton for a while called Randy Graves.
That's different.
Do I make you Randy Graves?
Graves.
Is that a necrophilia joke?
Same but different.
If I was a Austin Powers thing.
Austin Powers like necrophilia joke.
Do I make you Randy, dead man? Because you make me.
Jeez.
Is that
sploosh? I'll keep going.
Don't stop there.
So,
not at the sploosh, that's for sure.
So,
lick.
No. So Mercy Graves in Young Justice had like an android arm, like a laser gun arm.
One more song.
Mercy Graves was in Batman v Superman.
What?
She's like Luthor's assistant that gets blown up in the Capitol building.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mercy Graves is coming to Supergirl. I don't know if it means she's going to be Lena Luthor's bodyguard or if it means that Lex is also like going to show up on Supergirl.
Yeah, that seems like
he has already. Like,
I was gonna say, I'm like, yeah, I have no idea, but it seems like you're burying the lead. If you're like, Mercy Graves is there, I guess Lex is as well.
I imagine that she'll be more connected to Lena Luthor. I don't know
that would be my guess
that they have or will introduce Lex, but
I don't see the intention. Like, it doesn't seem like it's worth it.
I don't think so. But yeah.
DC Universe Online refreshes itself with fan favorites starring in TV and
movies.
So DC Universe Online is basically like World of Warcraft, but with DC characters. You make your own superhero.
Well, actually, I mean, it's a little bit
powers.
more complicated than that.
I will
but I mean,
kill you. Nerd!
Can you please always do that voice?
exactly. If you're going to be more correct, World of Warcraft is more of like a multi-dimensional thing. But DC Universe Online, it's actually a little bit more complicated than that. It's really more of an amalgamation of a lot of the superheroes all in one sort of area. But it's not that everybody can just become all these different characters.
Oh my god! Please breathe.
Go on.
So, I think in the latest update they've introduced like TV versions of some of the characters.
Well, you got like the Robin, like that is more of like the Teen Titans Robin,
right? Yeah.
So it's. I mean, did you ever play it?
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say. I wondered
years ago. I haven't played.
Well, it's been out for 7 years.
I probably haven't played it in about 3 years, but I used to play it all the time.
Would this entice you?
I'm still in the middle of like Lord of the Rings Online, and I can only VIP so many things. So.
Well, yeah, that plus you're also playing all those Xbox 360 games.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, because I finally got on the Xbox 360 train.
Oh, it's about time we've been waiting.
Hello, 2005. But yeah, I mean, I think they've done a pretty good job of introducing different things into that game. Like, I know they've introduced a bunch of storylines, things like Blackest Night and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They've done like versions for the game, and there's lots of really cool story adaptations in there. So I think it totally makes sense to then like find a way to throw in other sort of spheres of DC that people are into. Yeah. So is it just like that?
Well, you're getting Starfire, you're getting Cyborg, like...
Is it just the Teen Titans, then?
Yeah.
Like, just new versions of
For the most part, yeah. Like
just aesthetically new versions, or is it like...
No, new characters.
Oh. Interesting.
I think. I mean,
if you're playing DC Universe Online, let us know what this, like, update actually, like, plays like. But, yeah, I think that's...
Also, you know that there's, like, new games out there, right? Just saying. So really great stuff out there.
There's only this game.
And Harley Quinn resurrects a long-lost Golden Age DC hero in October.
Oh, yeah, it's in October.
Yeah, there's a really kind of random Golden Age character called Captain Triumph.
Yeah.
Who, I think, where did he debut? Crack Comics, which, make of that what you will.
Yeah, it's where they do all those like online quizzes and like
cracked. Yeah, I see. Yeah, I like how you steered it away from drugs.
Oh, I mean, well, I knew crack was a drug. So.
Yeah, because you know drugs so well.
Yeah, because I've Shut up, Craig.
I hope not.
No, I mean, yeah, obviously that's ridiculous because I've totally.
Are you trying to say suppository?
Put it up my butt?
Yeah, that's exactly how you do it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, because of course.
You must be fun at parties.
Yeah, with all of the narcotics I consume.
Nice. I'll be honest, I've never read any story with Captain Triumph in it.
I really thought he was going to say I've never done drugs before.
No,
I'll be honest, I've never read any story with Captain Triumph in it. But he had kind of like some weird suite of powers. I think he could sometimes be invisible. He had some super strength. He was almost invulnerable. Some other things like that. I don't know the context.
You got bullet
though.
invulnerability.
I don't know the context though of him showing up in Harley Quinn or how she resurrects him. Does this have anything to do with like the recent sort of story where she's been on like Apocalypse and stuff like that?
I actually don't know. I haven't read it. I just grabbed a piece of news. I was surprised that I haven't, like, that's one of the series I haven't been able to follow up on, which is Harley Quinn.
I feel like narratively what they're kind of doing with Harley Quinn series is treating her maybe a little bit like Deadpool in that there's almost like a meta sort of thing. You know, like they've had this arc where it's like Harley goes to the fourth world and interacts with the New Gods, and now it's like Harley and this Golden Age character. I think it's not necessarily as like self-referential.
It's like Ernest goes to jail.
Yeah, a little bit.
You mean awesome?
It's not exactly like Deadpool. It's less like self-referential maybe, but I feel like they're kind of using her that way to sort of explore these different corners of DC.
It's just weird that this character shows up and then it just says that like Harley's costume is great for me to poop on.
Wait, what? Oh, Triumph. Fuck. I got there eventually. That was actually pretty good. I wish I had caught on.
Yeah, I know, it's okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Can't all be that quick.
All right.
Let's go to the poll list, hey?
Let's do that. So I've been kind of
let's get into this.
I've been watching Gotham.
Fucking right.
Yeah.
So out of the gates, I didn't realize. So Gotham is on Netflix, which is my kind of go-to for home viewing.
Sure.
I'm like, oh, Gotham, that seems kind of cool. So I read the tagline of it.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, shit. All right. Well, yeah, it seems kind of like crime detective-y. That's kind of my
Did us
vibe.
showing you like trailers in previous years? Like, did any of this play towards any of us talking about it?
I totally forgot that it was.
Of course you fucking...
So I go into this show watching it as though it's just some like detective show. I'm like, this is fucking great.
Called Gotham. I don't know anything. What I feel like it's something in my brain.
Yeah, Colin talks about watching Gotham like he discovered it.
I don't know if you guys know about this, but there's like a town. Now Batman's going to be there eventually.
Guys, shut up. So I come in one day, residents, I'm talking to you. I come in one day and I say to the guys, I started watching this show called Gotham. It's on Netflix. It's actually pretty dope. Like, imagine if Batman as a series was focused more so on like Commissioner Gordon.
What? That's such a cool concept.
But as a young man who's got like a deep voice and like a crazy temper, and
and he was adopted by a Jewish family in the Orange County.
Ben McKenzie is the
thank you. Well, you are just off today, aren't you?
California, here we come. Okay, but we've talked about this.
Welcome to Gotham,
dude.
Bitch.
But the drummer from that band.
Oh yeah, that's what's his name?
Jason. What's his face?
Jason Schwartzman.
Oh right, we have talked about this. We've talked in other episodes, though, about like Colin's approach to characters, and Colin has almost always sided with, I want a show about a superhero where we don't get the superhero until the very end. So we suggested, he's forgotten that this came from us, we suggested that he check out Gotham because that was kind of the initial premise, and we said specifically that he'd love the first season. You're past the first season now.
Yeah, I'm into season 2. I'm
what do you think of the show? What did you think about the first season?
Okay,
and
so in the first,
are you still into it?
I love it. It's great.
What did you like about the first season?
The fact that you've got a young detective loses his fucking badge.
Oh yeah.
Over some like corruption. There's all that shit going on. And then I like the way that they are kind of like building Penguin, even still in season 2, like sending him to Arkham Asylum, breaking him back down to nothing. He meets his real dad. Spoiler alert, whatever the fuck. Go fuck yourself.
We're seasons past.
It's amazing though. And then you've got like this scene with young Bruce Wayne with a gun in his hand to the guy he thinks killed his parents.
Oh yeah, that was a good scene.
It was a good scene.
And then he just like puts it down in front of him, basically saying like, you're not worth it, and walks out. And then the guy fucking shoots himself. Amazing.
Yeah.
It's very, very good. What did you think about the aesthetics of the show?
Oh, so dark. Like very. There have been some parts where I'm just like, what the fuck?
Have you noticed like the sort of like the tonal or the aesthetic shift from the first season to the second? Because personally, that threw me off. I really loved what they did with the first season, and the second season felt like it was going somewhere different. Have you noticed a difference?
In the first like 6 episodes of the second season, I was like, oh, come on, guys, you're being hokey. After that, they start diving again.
Right.
It starts to get darker, which I really like.
Right.
And there's definitely more focus. Like Jim goes to jail.
Yep.
Gets broken out because the warden thinks he's dead. Like there's like it's a pretty grim show when you look at it from like completely remove yourself from the fact that you've seen The Dark Knight, you've seen Batman in the 60s, that you've seen Justice League. Just pull all of that shit off the table when you start watching that show, and you will like crazy enjoy that show.
Do you get like the sort of one of my biggest issue was it felt like Gotham Babies, like it was like here's young Catwoman and like young Batman. Did that bother you at all?
No, because you've got Alfred kind of like not being full on Alfred yet. Like Bruce gets into a little dust up with some kids at school, and Alfred starts like teaching him how to fight it,
which is pretty cool. That like Alfred, like, does it make sense to you now that like he's getting his own show?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Right?
Alfred's dope as shit.
Yeah,
that guy's awesome.
Because that's the one thing that I think
is kind of like the Earth 1 version of Alfred, where he's like former SAS, like that.
Have they ever really gone into like his full backstory and like
in the Earth 1 Batman graphic novels, he's like a full on like former British.
Because that's the only thing that ever makes sense is that he must be like former.
I hope that he's not military though. I hope that he's like ex-English gangster or something like this. And like reformed a little bit.
Some sort of like street tough.
Yeah. And like was part of some massive crime family, saw some shit go down, then realized like
some Clockwork Orange.
This shit isn't for me. And then like kind of dandies it up a little bit in America.
Now beyond the like the young kids, a criticism of mine in season 2, part of the reason I actually stopped watching is that it bothered me that we were getting like fully formed villains without a Batman. Like for example, season 2 sees the introduction of Mr. Freeze and Hugo Strange. We basically have a Riddler by that point.
No, that's not true. Riddler's not even full on yet. Like, yeah, he's had his first couple of victims. Yeah, he's starting to like develop his chaos between his two minds, but like he's not full on Riddler yet. Like he's starting to discover himself, but that's like very, very early stages Riddler. Right. Like that's like infancy Riddler.
So it doesn't bother you. You
not at all. Not at all.
I think good. Really good. Cool. I think we were right in that like the things that are going to bother us, he doesn't have. It's not so deeply entrenched within them that it's going to bug him.
And again, this is a thing that Colin has said like many times is that he likes seeing like the slow burn, the long journey. He doesn't really care about watching the hero in their element. He wants to see like how they got there. So I'm curious to see as the seasons go on.
Here's an example. Here's an example for you, as listeners and as us on the show. To say like, oh, it's too early for a Freeze, it's too early for a Riddler, it's too early for blah blah blah.
Sure.
If you look at the mid '90s, late '90s Batman, who's that? George Clooney.
Like you mean in Batman and Robin?
Yeah,
that's Clooney.
Yeah, where you've got like the Riddler as this like fully developed older version.
Val Kilmer in that movie.
Yeah, Val Kilmer is older than. Yeah, he plays like an older role.
Sure.
So it feels as though like a lot of those characters need to be developed for Bruce to be like, shit. In my late teen years, I need to develop all of this stuff so that I can help protect the city that I love. That my parents left.
Do you know what? If I leave the comic book sort of knowledge aside, there is a logic to that. That like if you just look at your city and it's just full of like regular crime, that doesn't exactly logically leap to dress as a bat and build like a state of the art jet. But if you have these colorful villains and it's sort of gone beyond regular crime, then maybe you do need to become the Batman. I do get that logic.
Because Bruce Wayne, like, so let's really look at this. Jim Gordon is in his late 20s, early 30s, let's say.
Sure. Yeah.
Bruce is 12.
Right.
I'm guessing.
10,
12. So he's like pre-teens.
Yeah.
If there's just regular ass crime happening in his city as a young man into his like teenage years, he becomes a cop.
Right. Yes.
He doesn't become a detective. He doesn't become like a over the top. He just becomes a regular ass cop.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think even if you take the corruption into account, I do see the logic there. It's tough to let go sometimes of the comic book thing, which is no, like, Batman creates his own villains. He's like, blah, blah, blah. But I think in the context of the show, and maybe I should give it another shot.
Definitely.
There is a certain way in which that makes sense. So I'm glad that you're enjoying it.
We can start watching it together again.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're probably actually further ahead than I am. Because
I think you are further. The farthest I got was the prison breakout.
I stopped watching after the initial Mr. Freeze couple of episodes.
Yeah, which were great episodes. And watching his wife make the decision to like kill her or like have him kill her essentially is like assisted suicide.
Yeah.
That was like, that was pretty powerful.
The one thing I will say is even though I stopped watching, I actually thought the casting and the performances were always good in that show.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like the
Penguin is a great...
I wasn't into.
Dude,
but
Penguin is amazing.
What do you think of Fish Mooney?
I'm happy that she's not around as much as she was in the very beginning.
Yeah, I agree.
She, like, I don't know. Is she like a big character in DC?
They created her.
She doesn't exist.
They created her there.
Yeah, I think that she was more a part of his, not cinematic, but TV origin story than anything. Like, you need somebody to kind of guide him and bounce him back and forth between a couple of crime bosses before he realizes, like,
he could be one of his own.
I could do this myself.
I like the idea that she's kind of where he gets the like theatrical flair from, which is such a thing for Batman villains, right?
And then his mom and also I'm so bad at names. The other mob boss,
Falcone.
Yeah.
Between his mom and Falcone, that's where he gets his like classic old timey vibe from.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. I mean, they're really piecing sort of what his character will eventually be, and I think that that's going to be one of the major characters.
Do you know a character that I actually loved on that show that I thought got such a raw deal all the way while I was watching? It was Butch.
Really?
I like Butch, and I always thought like I don't mean a raw deal,
but he doesn't have two names. His name's Butch.
I don't mean a raw deal in terms of like the narrative. I just mean like you feel for the character. You're like, but he's just. It's like that's what happens when you're the second, right? Like you're too loyal to someone else comes after you, shit goes sideways. You're always bouncing. Like, who do you work for next? Like, I always kind of felt for Butch.
It's true. I actually like him as a character.
Yeah. Well, this is cool. I'm excited to like get sort of periodic updates. Maybe like as you finish each season,
and you know what I'm excited for is by season 5, I'm gonna make this bitch watch Supernatural all 13 seasons.
Oh yes,
I did shake on that. I did agree to that.
Somebody let the dogs out.
It was you.
I let the dogs out.
Way to go, Baja man.
Oh yeah, we don't know. We know who. Who? So, Doc, have you been reading, watching anything?
No, I think I'm going to give up on comic books. I finished Flash War, which I think I might have talked about a little bit. I like the idea of the Still Force that's been introduced in Justice League and through Flash War. I don't like the other two forces, like the Strength Force and the Sage Force.
Yeah.
They just kind of feel silly. I'm hoping that in future, some writer takes them and makes them meaningful in the way that a writer made the Speed Force and made that meaningful. But just for what happened in that arc, they just felt kind of throwaway, kind of silly. I don't see where they're going with them. I like that there's a bit of continuity between some of the titles and what's happening in Justice League. Like this exploration of other forces or like the other spectrums and stuff like that. Like you can tell it's going to filter into the other books or like the Dark Gods arc in Wonder Woman. These all like tie back to the end of Metal and No Justice and then the new run of Justice League. So I'm enjoying that things are not as rigidly like in continuity or like rigidly following each other as the 52 was originally, but there's lots of references, there's lots of connection. You can tell that people are talking to each other and trying to work things into each other's stories. So I'm enjoying that right now.
I like it.
How about you?
So I texted you or I messaged you about it the other day.
Oh yeah.
The Batman and Elmer Fudd crossover. What are you laughing about?
One of them hates using guns and the other one can't shoot for shit.
So the thing with these Hanna-Barbera crossovers, you might like this, Colin, is that they're like deadly serious.
Super serious.
They're not silly. Like they're
How can they not be?
they are deadly serious versions. Like
I'm not gonna like spoil.
I'm sorry. Does Batman like teach Elmer Fudd the wrong of his ways with using guns or something?
I think
I'm not gonna ruin it because
Ruin it.
No.
Didn't this issue just win an Eisner though?
Yeah. It's gotten like 10 out of 10s. Like it's so good.
Elmer Fudd is like a deranged hunter that comes to Gotham City.
Again, can't shoot for shit.
You gotta read it. It's kind of crazy.
Anyways, you gotta read it. But I mean,
let's talk about people who are stuck on the literature, I guess. But come on, it's Elmer Fudd.
I know, and it doesn't make any sense. I think this is the best of them.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not. You can't shoot.
I also think it's the best one of them.
Is he killing oxygen? What's going on?
I know, and they take away a lot of the like comedy tropes, and they make him basically like this hunter that shows up in a bar that Batman meets up with.
Yeah.
It's really good, and I think it's actually worth a read. I mean, we kind of like skimmed over a lot of the Hanna-Barbera stuff when it started coming up.
We did, yeah.
I think we didn't give it enough of a chance, and the reality is like I gave that one a read through, and it blew my mind. And then I ended up finding out that it was like the top one that everybody's talking about. So,
do you have a copy of that somewhere?
No, yeah.
Okay. So yes,
it's
redacted.
Yes, day of week. It's really, really good, and I definitely suggest people get into it.
Yeah,
I'd be curious. Give it a chance. The Hanna-Barbera is actually pretty decent.
All right, fine. If the doctor will give,
I haven't had to fucking edit this thing
Supernatural
for real in so long.
a chance, I'm willing to give Elmer Fudd as a serious character a chance.
So sorry, this is like a reciprocal thing now where you're going to finish Gotham and then I'm going to finish Supernatural and then you'll finish the Hanna-Barbera.
Well, no,
thing.
I'm going to finish
and then
that
if you read the Hanna-Barbera, then I'll
start a band.
You won't finish Supernatural before I finish this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen you read. I think I will.
Have you though?
It took you 20 minutes to read one story in Action Comics 1000.
So there's a lot of bullshit going on. I had to read through the nonsense. Anyways, this week's theme is martial artists.
Karate.
Yes, the one martial art.
Karate. Did you ever watch Kimmy Schmidt?
No, sorry.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
It's so good.
And then he added it to the list.
Karate.
Yeah, we're talking about DC's greatest fighters, martial artists, trained combatants. Yeah, we got lots of questions for this one.
A crap ton, to be honest.
Some really, really good ones. So we might as well just dive right into them.
Well, we're going to Facebook.
To the face and the book, going to the Facebook.
Adam Upper.
We're going to the Facebook.
Adam Upper asks, has Superman been shown to get/have any martial arts /fighting training, or is it more a learning to fight as he's fighting Lobo or whomever?
So it has come up a few times in comics that Superman maybe relies too much on his powers. I think Batman has remarked that he lacks training. In the New 52, there was a Superman and Wonder Woman series, like a duo series. And in that one, Wonder Woman starts combat training Superman because she says you can't just rely on your powers. What if, you don't have them or they're nullified or someone is as strong as you or whatever. So there are instances in comics of Superman receiving fight training. He is not, by any stretch, a top-tier combatant or fighter.
Which is why, he gets his ass handed to him every time, anyone from Krypton shows up. Because a lot of these guys are military people, Zod especially, just whoops his ass.
Superman is creative. He has lots of heart. He tries to outmaneuver things like that, but in raw terms of hand-to-hand combat, he is not, even with training, he's not anywhere close to a top-tier fighter.
Any Kryptonians that shows up really should be able to just beat him every time. There's not a lot of reasoning of why he should be able to beat them.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose so, especially with someone with military training like Zod.
That's what I mean. That's the thing that always kind of bothered me a little bit.
Right.
Heart can only get you so heart and creativity can only use so much.
What I give a bit of leniency, for example, in Man of Steel when he's fighting Zod, because he is more used to his powers.
Yes.
So he's a worse fighter, but he does have an advantage. Just in terms of knowing how strong, or
like knowing what he can grab and like
things like that. Like he does have a bit of a tactical advantage that way. And I think you can make the argument for that in comics too. But I think there's lots of like comic evidence that like Zod is a better fighter. Superman has to be more steps ahead of him. Like he has to know like. Yeah. Or he has to play off his emotions. The one like failing of Zod is that his anger gets the better of him. Yeah. His like rage and hatred can cloud that strategic mind. So yeah, I mean, and then not to veer it too far away from Superman, but there was an arc in the New 52 Flash where there was a Barry Allen from the future that was working his way back in time and killing villains as he was going until he reached the present.
That's such a great concept.
And that future Flash had been trained by Batman. He like realized he didn't know he realized he didn't know how to fight.
So I mean like the movie will show us all that he just really knows how to push people.
So by the time he got to the past to fight like the present Barry, like Barry got his ass kicked because future Flash had basically like the fighting skills of Batman and the Speed Force.
God damn, that's a great combo.
So it was like, that was a neat concept. Again, addressing that idea that like people with powers, especially if their powers are that sort of like really grand scale, cosmic scale, aren't necessarily good fighters. They rely on it too much. It's like
that would be such a good concept for a comic, is having Superman lose his powers, have to become a good fighter, and then he gets them back.
I'd have to recall, but there was an arc in Superman Batman like years and years and years ago where I think Batman got Superman's powers and Superman became human, and I think they did train each other. I think Batman did give him some fight training, and then Superman was training him. He was like, "Can you feel like the heat building in the back of your eyes?
It's like Rocky and Apollo at the gym."
Yeah, it's like this is how you focus it. This is how you direct it. Like they were sort of training each other a little bit. So I think that is a thing.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Matthew Poulter.
Oh, Poulter. Not poultry. There's Matthew Poultry, guys.
Thank you, Michael.
Two DC
no problem.
characters meet up on the playground and yell, "My dad can beat up your dad," at each other. Which pairing of dads yields the bloodiest fist fight?
So I asked a clarification question of Matthew for this one. I asked, are the dads the superheroes? Like, is it kids of superheroes? And they're saying, my dad can beat up your dad. And he said, no, it's the dads of superheroes. So
which dad of a superhero?
Which dads could beat up other?
Bruce Wayne's dad is dead.
Tactical advantage.
Pretty bloody also.
Yeah.
Superman's dad is
not dead, but
close to dead.
Well,
he's old.
He's still a Kryptonian.
Aquaman's dad is
I was thinking more of his adopted dad.
Oh, you mean Jonathan Kent? Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
I like, here's my combo. Because of the old-timey worker vibe.
Okay.
Aquaman's dad and Superman's stepdad.
You mean like so Jonathan Kent,
his adoptive dad
versus Thomas Curry? I think
Thomas Curry would fucking destroy him.
He's like, he works on a fucking lighthouse.
Yeah. I think I agree with you there. Thomas Curry would beat up Jonathan Kent, I think,
and smash his face through his own face.
Also, even if we take it in the movies, that's Kevin Costner versus Jango Fett.
Oh,
I'm giving it to Jango Fett.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, that's enough. What about? Do we know anything about? Well, which version of Flash's dad are we talking? Because, I mean, the one went to jail. So, I mean, he's got that jail strength. He's been working out.
He's got jail dad strength.
Yeah, exactly. He's been through some shit.
I haven't seen my kid in a while.
He's not like super jacked, though. But yeah, I mean, he's been in prison for like 15 years or
He's got a knife made out of a toothbrush.
But he doesn't want to go back, though, probably.
That's true. You can't make him go back.
Yeah, so he's got a lot on the line. So I think that goes a long way in a fight.
On the line. Love isn't always on time.
Whoa.
Thank you, listeners, for filling in on the first whoa.
Love isn't always on time.
That's the cover I've always wanted, is Michael McDonald.
Oh, no.
We should just call him, really.
Interesting. So superhero dads, God. I think I'm gonna bend the rules a little bit, I think, here.
Oh, of course. Just like a white man.
Jesus. How did you make that about?
I don't know. I felt like a thing to do.
I'm going to use my white privilege and bend the rules.
Told you.
There are parallel Earths where Bruce Wayne's father is not dead. And that Wayne is a fucking vicious fighter. Like any Earth where Thomas Wayne survives is one to be wary of, I think. There's also like Cassandra Cain, who is herself like one of the best martial artists on the planet. Her father, David Cain, is a very accomplished like fighter. I don't know if that counts because he's kind of like his own like quote unquote super character, right?
Yeah.
But there's that. If we're just picking, I mean, Hal Jordan's dad was a fighter pilot. He's in the military. I'm sure he received training. That's got to count for something. Wonder Woman's father is Zeus.
So, I mean, that kind of trumps all. That's not fair.
Yeah, but that's not a blood. That's like the guy hits somebody once and the whole body's going to be pulverized. So that doesn't yield a whole lot of blood.
That's true. The question is, what's the bloodiest fist fight? So I think it's got to be
Thomas Wayne.
Well, it's got to be people that are relatively evenly matched, but also vicious. So yeah, I think you're right. I think Thomas Wayne has to be one of them on one of those Earths where he survives. And then I think the other one might have to be... Oh, God, this is tricky. I don't know. This is actually really tough. Who's dad?
Flash's dad. But Barry Allen's father.
You want prison Henry Allen versus like Flashpoint like Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
One's dirty fighter, had to learn how to fight in prison.
Yeah. Yeah, and one is just
a
like
psychopath who's
emotionally
lost his
broken
son.
with nothing to lose.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. I'm in for that.
Nice.
There you go.
All right, so we both agree. All three of us agree that it's Aquaman's dad and Clark Kent's adopted dad.
Colin blacked out. This was like, yep, the conversation ended there.
Right where I imagined it is.
Tyler Van Nosdal. Nosdal?
We do this every time.
Nosdal.
I think it's just Nosdal.
Nosdal? Can you please Facebook us and let us know how you pronounce that name?
Yeah, just spell your name out for us so we still know.
Well, no, but
know how
it's
to pronounce
like
it.
Webster's dictionary. There's like the pronunciation.
Spell phonetically.
Yeah. When Wildcat finally makes his return with the rest of the JSA, what newer characters would you like to see him train?
Have we ever talked about Wildcat before on the show?
Wildcats. Oh, yeah. I mean, with the time when we talked about Saved by the Bell and their great team.
Right.
Go Wildcats.
So Wildcat was a member of the Justice Society of America, which are like the older, like the war era heroes. He's a Golden Age character. His name is Ted Grant, and he's like a prize fighter, like a heavyweight boxer, who gets sort of framed for a couple of murders, becomes a fugitive, and then becomes a superhero. He wears this like all black, basically cat suit with kind of a cat face on it, and then like the boxer wraps on his...
I'm a kitty cat. Meow meow. Hey, Adrian, I'm a kitty cat. Meow meow. I'm gonna punch your lights out. First, collect myself. You wanna punch your lights out? Adrian.
Hey, Mickey, where's my milk?
Hey, Mickey, where's my milk? Rock, I've had enough milk. Take some of this wet food. I don't want that food. I told you Purina's the brand I like. This is all we got. Rock, we got the wet food. You gotta eat it. I don't want that. I told you I'm just gonna bat it around for a while. No, Rock, I told you gotta eat the dry food. It's all we can afford. Oh, I told you. Oh, wait. Oh, here's a nice ball I'm gonna play with.
If he purrs, he purrs. So on that note, Ted Grant is like a prize fighter, he's a boxer. He becomes a superhero after sort of being on the run. He's also sort of known as a trainer of future superheroes. In some comic continuities, he has trained or been a trainer of Black Canary, of Batman, of other sort of younger generations of heroes. So, as Tyler is saying, it looks like we're finally getting the return of the JSA between stuff that's happened in DC Rebirth, where we've seen Johnny Thunder. In the Button crossover, we saw Jay Garrick. In Doomsday Clock, we're seeing like Alan Scott and sort of his thing coming out. I think we've got Hawkman back from DC Metal. I think we're seeing the JSA come back. And so it would make sense to see Wildcat. Who would I like to see him train? What newer characters would I like to see him train? That's kind of interesting. I think it would be interesting to see him work with a character like Wally West 2, like the New 52 Kid Flash.
Yeah.
The new Wally West. This is a character who's sort of like lost emotionally. He's kind of like gone from very hopeful to very angry. He's currently in a pretty dark place and following Damian Wayne down a kind of a dark path. It would be neat to see Ted Grant take this kid with powers, because Ted doesn't have powers himself.
He's gonna make him a star.
Well, but like,
Just sign here.
it would
Come
be
into my
neat-
basement.
It would be neat to see those things from like sports movies, that like boxing isn't just about fighting, it's about heart. You know, like give them like those kind of lessons. Like I would be into something like that, I think, right? As hokey as it is.
Teaches them how to play chess instead of actually how to fight.
I'm okay with that. I think that
Yeah.
that would be interesting to see that. Like,
Yeah, I think something like that makes sense to me. I think that could also technically work with Emiko Queen, Oliver Queen's half sister, who's the
yes.
Rolero. I think she's a bit more well adjusted than Wally West is, but I think both of them could maybe benefit from the guidance and the training of Wildcat.
The Dr. DC podcast will be back after this quick break.
Hey dudes, Jake here. This episode of the Dr. DC podcast is brought to you thanks to our sponsor, Great Lakes Grooming. They sent us some tubular products to try, and I want to talk about them. Their pine tar soap is amazing. Traditional recipe with added freshness of peppermint. So good. I like it a lot. After I'm done going on the cool waves, I like to put some pine tar soap on my body to wash off some of the salt. The Noble Self's hairstyling cream. You know Jake needs to have the best hair possible. Noble Self's hairstyling cream does that. It's got like a medium light hold with a soft peel. With a soft feel. Perfect for everyday use and casual styles. Great Lakes is meant to be easy to use, rain or shine. All their products are purposely designed and environmentally responsible. Handmade in Canada. For you lucky listeners, we get 10% off Great Lakes regular priced products by going to GreatLakesGrooming.com and using the promo code DRDC Podcast. Now back to the show.
Let's go over to the Twitter.
Twitter. Oh, we're going to Twitter. We're gonna answer lots of your questions. It used to be 140 characters, now it's 250. Gonna answer questions right now.
It's 280.
Well, fuck you.
Get fucked, Michael McDonald.
I'm so sorry, reading a dick.
Puff Cheek Pastries asks, Bruce
Puff.
Lee is perhaps one of the greatest martial artists that ever lived, and then in parentheses goes on to say, think otherwise? Fight me. In parentheses. That said, how many characters have been introduced to be the analog of Lee?
Ooh.
Have those characters ever fought against Bruce Lee?
How prevalent is Bruce Lee in DC?
Ooh, this is interesting. Real life people have shown up in DC Comics, sometimes in specials. Like there's a very famous issue of Superman where he fights Muhammad Ali, like in the ring. Like that sort of thing has happened.
How's that go?
I think Muhammad Ali wins.
Of course he does. He's the
Superman's
fucking
like
champion.
Superman's like depowered or something, but yeah.
What do you mean depowered? He's fighting against Muhammad Ali. The guy's a champion.
I'm the greatest.
The guy stings like a butterfly.
So
The champ is here.
here's the real question too. I mean, we should have brought this up at the beginning when we first said the theme, but you yourself specifically have knowledge of martial arts.
Yeah.
Very, very loose
No.
knowledge.
I think we've talked about it in the beginning.
Deep lore, the
Didn't you-
arcane knowledge.
Didn't you get your knowledge from like a Cracker Jack box or something?
Oh, I read a book.
Oh,
And
okay.
now I have my second degree black belt. No, I do. I have a second degree black belt in karate.
So you
couldn't have got your third degree.
Where did
huh?
like what?
Fuck you fucking dick.
What do you have left to get that?
Jesus.
Where did
I've got a 2nd-degree sunburn. What do you?
was it comics or like what got you
The upper
into
hand, I
wanting
see.
to do martial arts? Like, did you
Well,
see any of these movies?
This is gonna sound like
fucking dorky as hell. Isn't
Napoleon
it?
Dynamite. is
it's
what
going to
got
sound
me
like a
going.
joke, but my parents kept putting me in different things. And they were like, oh, he's not taking to that. And then I was kind of getting beaten up at school and that. So
Yeah, I could see that. I'd beat you.
Not anymore. You could.
No. But like back then, no. I was getting beat up
they
too.
they put me in karate lessons, and I actually like enjoyed them and I was into it, and I wanted to be good at it, and I had a bit of a natural affinity in a way that I did not for team sports or things like that.
So you didn't get into hockey at all?
No.
Because that's also where you could learn how to, not get your ass kicked.
Did you ever try karate?
It's very specific though. Like you learn how to fight in a very specific way in hockey. I did like martial arts, karate, Muay Thai, all sorts of martial arts for like almost a decade. And I guarantee if I were in a fight now, I would use that, like all those belts and all of those years of training to kick someone in the nuts. Like I fight to win. Like
Colin, you never did karate as a kid?
When I was 5 years old, my parents put me in karate. And I remember it very specifically because it was very cold that winter. My dad had this.
Was it outside?
No. Yeah, it's the Yukon. That's where we do karate, is outside.
Place.
Time, winter. But my dad had this old, like, blue rusted up pickup truck. Let's call it a Ford, for example.
Sure.
And he would always drive me there. But I went to, I think, like a month worth of karate classes. And
Useless details.
I was waiting for it to be like he made me punch the side door of the truck.
Hold on. There's like it gets to a point. So we were getting ready to move houses, and I was in karate with this other kid. Let's call him Adam.
That was his real name.
Yeah. I'm assuming that's his name.
So he and I would just like run around like terrors, kicking everybody, knocking everything over, fighting each other mercilessly.
Right.
Karate kid stuff. And right before
didn't learn the discipline or the respect.
No, that's towards the end of the story.
No, sweep the leg is all he cared about.
Daniel-san. So we're getting ready to move houses, and the guy who runs the karate class, the sensei or whatever you want to call him, he comes up to my dad at the end of a class and is just like, I think it might be best if Colin doesn't come back to karate class anymore. And my dad's like, what are you talking about? And he goes, he just lacks a lot of discipline.
Colin?
And my dad goes, are you kidding me? This kid plays hockey. Like, he's got tons of discipline. And the guy's
grits teeth.
He's like,
bites tongue.
Maybe this
swallows blood.
Maybe this might not be the best avenue for your son. Meanwhile, my dad's like standing there like really upset, and he's like putting my jacket on to take me out in -40 to the pickup truck, and I'm like pretty pissed off now because like he's like telling me like, you don't have enough discipline, you're not allowed to do this karate thing anymore, and I'm like, but I just made this best friend and we just run around just kicking shit, wrecking the world, it's great times. And I look over and this kid is getting the same conversation and the karate guy is telling his mom this instead of his dad. Because, gender doesn't matter. You're a parent. And then we move, and this family comes over to welcome us to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
As their new next-door neighbors.
Right.
And this little boy and I recognize each other from karate class, and we're like, I know you. And he's like, I know you. We were the two kids that fucked shit up at karate class.
That kid was Alex the boy.
We weren't allowed to go back to karate class, but they had a trampoline, so who needs karate class?
Oh, my God.
So many details.
That's so funny.
We were kicked out of karate class, but they had a trampoline. That tracks.
I bailed out of karate class.
Dude, we kicked the shit out of each other, and then his big brother used to kick the shit out of us.
Yeah, it does sound like the sensei was right, that you lacked the discipline.
Yeah, it does sound like Colin.
I know I wasn't there.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know it wasn't there, but based on the evidence you yourself provided,
I had heaps of discipline.
I feel like he was right.
I was disciplining the mats.
But
I was disciplining the other kids with my feet. I was disciplining the Japanese language by counting.
I bailed the first day when they said that part of the training was that you had to run around the track that was outside of it.
Right.
And I was like, oh, exercise? No fuck.
Would you bail today?
Yeah, no, I still don't want to run on a track.
So to answer your question, I wasn't actually into that stuff before taking karate, but once I was in it and enjoying it, then like, yeah, martial arts films, like
Bruce Lee.
I got into Bruce
Jet
Lee. I got into like Sammo Hung, old Jackie Chan. Like
so
some of my
good.
favorite movies are like Project A, Chinese Connection. I used to watch Martial Law, which was like the low rent TV version of Rush Hour with Sammo Hung and Arsenio Hall.
Yes.
I used to watch that. Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like I got into like the martial arts action movies and like the Matrix and stuff like that because of it. As far as specifically Bruce Lee showing up in a comic book, I'm sure he did, or at least a reference to him, but not in a way that I'm like, oh yeah, there's that comic where Bruce Lee fights. Blah. But I think maybe his like biggest sort of influence or impact in that genre was that he played Kato on the Green Hornet. He was like
that's true. Yeah,
he was
like
that prototype, like silent but deadly sidekick. Like that was Bruce Lee. And then they did technically cross over with the 60s Batman. So if you want the DC connection, he played Kato in the Batman 66 Green Hornet crossover.
That's fucking rad.
So yeah, I mean, as far as a character that's maybe like an analog form, there are lots of like
Karate Kid,
incredible martial artists like Richard Dragon or people.
We do need to talk about Karate Kid before this is over.
And Karate Kid, yeah, both
the master of the Aryan race.
Which one though?
No, the comic book.
There's a comic book character called Karate Kid. He's a member of the Legion of Superheroes. I think both of them are maybe like, just in terms of someone who is that incredible, that like iconic as a martial artist. It'd be between Richard Dragon and Karate Kid, I think, for me.
Warlock Thanos podcast asks, there was a story several years ago, Brotherhood of the Fist, I think, that establishes Connor Hawke, Green Arrow, as the number one fighter. Who do you think would be number one now, post-rebirth?
Right.
Aquaman.
Richard Dragon.
I thought you were going to say Richard Dreyfuss.
I did. I've been thinking Richard Dreyfuss since you guys said Richard Dragon earlier.
I just realized that you guys figured out my name.
Suddenly. You're Richard Dreyfuss?
I'm Richard Dragon.
Oh, okay.
It's my other name.
No, you're not. That's not what a dragon sounds like.
We're going to need a bigger studio. Still Richard Dreyfuss to me.
Yeah, there we go.
So we haven't talked about Connor Hawke before, so some quick background on him. Connor Hawke was introduced like in the 90s. He's the sort of long lost son of Oliver Queen that he didn't know about. But Connor Hawke was like a trained martial artist, and guess what? He becomes Green Arrow after Oliver Queen is killed. So he's the second Green Arrow. In this story, Brotherhood of the Fist, basically a bunch of these like elite martial artists, including Lady Shiva, who we've talked about before, come after Connor and a bunch of other people fighting who they believe to be the best fighters in the world to prove their supremacy. I actually think, funny enough, Brotherhood of the Fist, even though the premise is that Connor Hawke must be a good enough fighter to attract the attention of Lady Shiva and company, it actually proves that he's not the best fighter because he loses multiple times. He loses to Silver Monkey once, and then he loses to Shiva. He's only not killed because
Silver Monkey.
Yeah, Tim Drake begs Lady Shiva basically not to kill him. If anything, the lesson of Brotherhood of the Fist is that Connor Hawke is not the best fighter, but among he's good enough to attract their attention. But definitely not
someone
the
to
best.
kick the shit out of.
Well, but I mean, they don't go for easy fights. Lady Shiva's whole thing is that she's looking for basically like glorious death in battle.
Yeah.
She wants someone eventually to beat her in a fight to the death. And until she gets there, she'll keep finding the best fighters to challenge herself. So the fact that she fights him at all indicates he must be good. But the fact that he loses twice in that story, I think definitively proves he's not the best.
Is that what a third degree black belt is? You have to fight somebody to the death?
I wouldn't know. Thanks for bringing it up.
So sad. Into the Weird has a question. They ask, I started reading Legion of Superheroes as a kid shortly after Karate Kid was killed. So I've never really gotten him. How exactly did mastery of martial arts count as a power to qualify for Legion membership?
This is a great question because, like,
also,
No, that's the next question.
Oh, that's
Yeah, you see how...
I just really like cutting him off.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a really good question. Richard, you were going to say something, right?
It's a good question because, like, I mean, Batman not only has martial arts, but he has all of his equipment. He has, like, all this other stuff.
Basically, go gadget.
Yeah.
Like, take away one of his things and he has other stuff. But, like, what's the what can Karate Kid or anybody else offer, like, that only has martial arts skills? Like,
well, and especially in the Legion of Superheroes, we're in the 31st century.
Yeah.
And everyone has, like, a power that's innate to their race. Karate Kid is from Earth. He doesn't have powers, but he has mastered every martial art that has ever existed up until that point.
Yeah, he can fight in UFC. Like,
but here's the thing. So in the stories, in the continuity, he was actually such a master of martial arts. I don't think they ever officially made it like a meta power, but he kind of had the ability to detect the weak points of people and things. He has like punched his way through, like, it was some ridiculous comic book number, like 70 kilotons of ice or like some shit like that. He's kicked a meteor. He went hand to hand with Superboy. Like, and his like mastery of martial arts
Superman?
allowed him to like deflect like the kinetic energy. Like he could actually like fight and beat Superboy.
So he'd be really good
Yeah.
at ping pong.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess technically, yeah. He Karate Kid went like hand to hand by himself against the Legion's like biggest enemies, the what are they called? The Fearful Five, the Fatal Five.
So why didn't you
The
just
Fatal Five.
Why didn't you just start the Legion of Karate Kids?
Well, 'cause there's only one. But yeah, I mean, like he's incredibly powerful. But I think it's that idea that he could kind of like detect a weakness, or he had maybe like a bit of like a tactical mind as well to his fighting. So he was such a good fighter that he sort of transcended his own human abilities. He wasn't technically a metahuman.
okay.
He was,
But he met a human once.
nice. He was the leader of the Legion of Superheroes for a term as well. He became like one of their most valuable members.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That seems like far-fetched to me, but
I can understand why, but yeah, I mean, I was going to say it makes sense if you read the comics. As much as a Legion of Superhero comic can make sense,
yeah.
it makes sense that he has a place on that team.
Also, I'm pretty sure he might be a genie.
But just because of the way he dresses?
But yeah, the like wristbands and like the like waistband, and he looks like a genie.
His real name is Val Armor. Like his last name is basically Armor.
Jeez, of course it is.
Yeah.
Also, while I know that most non-powered and low-powered heroes are skilled in the martial arts in general, are there any characters whose heroic identity, other than Karate Kid, revolves around their mastery of the martial arts?
Right. So, like you were saying, Batman has other things going on. Black Canary has other things going on.
He's a billionaire.
Yeah.
He's really good with the ladies.
And technology. He's a
dresses
detective.
well. Yeah.
Like, you take away one of his things, he's got a whole litany of other abilities.
Exactly. So if I had
Great head of hair.
Huge dick.
What, Batman?
Average size personality.
Well, I mean, I guess Richard's pretty tall. Richard Grayson. Dick Grayson.
I thought you were talking about me.
Huge dick. I think the other characters whose like identity is sort of centered on their martial arts training is a character like Lady Shiva or Bronze Tiger, or more specifically Richard Dragon, Kung Fu Fighter. That was the name of his self-titled book for a long time.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, Richard Dragon, Kung Fu Fighter is almost certainly one whose like identity is centered on the fact that they are a master of the martial arts. Yeah, that's the easy answer to that one, I think.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Long Box of Darkness. How would you rank Rick Flag from Suicide Squad, and could you fill us in on his backstory? Based on his Donnybrook with bats in SS number 13. What's SS?
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
Well, actually.
He's probably one of the better fighters in DC, and why? Go.
Go. Do it. Let's do it. So Rick Flag is the leader of the Suicide Squad. He's the one person on the team that is not a villain. He's military. He's the one that's supposed to keep them all in line in addition to the bombs in their necks. Colin, you saw the movie. You've actually seen a version of Rick Flag.
I thought he was a professional wrestler.
Which one was he again?
And that's Ric Flair.
Oh.
That's Nature Boy.
Oh, yeah.
Woo!
Thank you. Wow.
Yeah, dude, I love Ric Flair. Are you kidding me?
Wow, I did not expect
yeah,
that.
dude.
But Rick Flag.
My grandma watched a lot of wrestling when I was growing up.
So many things.
Layers,
to say.
just layers for days.
But you've seen a version of Rick Flag.
I don't remember it.
That movie version doesn't inspire a ton of confidence in his fighting ability.
Not at all.
No. But the version in the comics, he's an extremely highly trained soldier. And in Suicide Squad number 13, he and Batman get into a fight. And they fight each other. They both land hits. He hits Batman a ton. He cracks him in the face a couple of times. But when the fight ends, Batman walks away and Rick Flag is on the ground and they have to get him a doctor. So
damn,
he's a good enough fighter to hit Batman.
But because he's like not an upstanding member of the community, they get him a veterinarian.
Yikes.
Dude, that's what happens.
No, he's fine. He's not a villain.
Trust me, I know that world.
Sorry, you know the world of like Black Ops villain super teams? Okay.
sure.
Wow, the heat stroke's really setting in, eh? So yeah, like I said, I mean, he's clearly a skilled enough fighter to actually like last in a fight against Batman, to actually hit him a little bit. But Batman is far and away more skilled. Rick Flag's training basically extends to like hand-to-hand combat you would gain in the military. Maybe a bit more advanced than that, but he's not like he didn't go like study with monks or like things like that. He's a military guy. He learned how to fight there.
Jonah Hex should probably be in the top 5 when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, based on his performance against future Batman in Hex number 11. Curious to find out where you would rank him.
You'll notice that like the barometer for whether or not someone is a good fighter is them fighting Batman.
Which is really weird, because I would imagine that fighting Superman would be the harder of the two.
But
Well, I mean, that's not like fair. You can't put the two up.
But
But Rocky did fight that Russian dude who killed Apollo, so I think yes.
Yeah, but that Russian
That
dude,
guy was a machine.
Drago didn't have like magic abilities. Like,
You sure about that?
yeah. You
Pretty
remember?
sure.
You remember that scene in the director's cut where he freeze breaths Mickey? Yeah, the barometer seems to be Batman. Batman is generally considered to be one of the greatest fighters in the DC universe. Jonah Hex is absolutely a strong hand-to-hand
How did Jonah
combatant.
just not just shoot that motherfucker?
Well, let's put aside the why didn't he use his gun thing. He's a great hand-to-hand fighter. But would I rank him in like the top 10 even? No, I don't think I would. He's great, but he's not extensively trained. He's not particularly disciplined. He's good, and I wouldn't want to fight him if I was
Jonah Hex.
He's good, and I wouldn't want to. God damn it! Yeah, that's what your sensei was trying to tell you. You're so undisciplined. You are Jonah Hex.
Sounds about right.
Jacques Hughes.
No, Jonah Hex.
Jacques Hughes.
No, it's pronounced Jack Hughes.
Jonah Hex.
It's Jake Hughes now.
Jake Hughes.
Yeah, I'm pretty cool, man. Call me Jake. Yeah, I mean, I'd say he's a great fighter. I wouldn't put him in the top 10 at all.
Let's go to Instagram, shall we?
Yeah, we're going to Instagram, take some questions and answer them.
Nice.
We can replace him soon, too, hey?
Yeah, we're going to Instagram. We're going to take some questions and answer them.
Here's what I'm curious to find out is like, who's going to do the ad? Is it going to be Michael McDonald or is it going to be our cool new friend Jake? Who's going to do the Great Lakes
You never
ad?
know.
I really think it's going to be Jake, and then Mike is going to be kind of MCing from...
Right. Jake is cool, like throwing a cool frat party that Michael McDonald is playing.
Is his dad.
Yeah. Jake McDonald.
You guys are giving me so much work.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll be super
Anyways.
disappointed if this doesn't happen.
So, K-Cross202 asks,
Full life.
if you had to rank the top 5 best fighters in DC, who would they be? If you had to rank the top 5 worst fighters... Oh, no, wait, never mind. So just answer the first one first.
So, top 5 best fighters.
Yeah, do it fast, though.
I think for me, it's Karate Kid, not necessarily in order. Karate Kid, Lady Shiva, Richard Dragon,
Richard Dreyfuss.
Batman,
The shark.
and The Question, I think.
Good one.
Wow.
If you had to rank the top 5 worst fighters in DC, who would they be? Go.
Ooh, six pack. Arm fall off boy.
Richard Dreyfuss.
Lois Lane.
No, Lois could throw a punch.
Really?
Oh God, yeah.
Jimmy Olsen.
Jimmy Olsen.
She slapped the shit out of
Well,
him.
unless you're talking about Jimmy Olsen from Supergirl.
Still. Oh yeah. No.
No, now he's a superhero.
Sorry. Who have I said so far? Six pack. Arm fall off boy. Jimmy Olsen. Who are two other terrible
The Street?
fighters? I guess Danny the Street
Danny the
is
Street.
a bad fighter because he doesn't have
But he's a street fighter, though.
Oh.
That's pretty good.
No, that's just whoever's fighting him.
Do.
But
Last
he's also
one.
still a street fighter, though.
I'd say the Chief, Niles Calder, but from that era where he was just a head on a tray of ice on like a cart. I think that he would be a bad fighter.
Mr. Chief Freeze.
Yeah.
Freeze Chief?
Do you have an answer to either of these, best or worst? Like someone you would sub in that I didn't say
Penguin?
as worst fighter?
When does he fight? When does he fight?
He does fight.
He doesn't fight.
He's better than the people I named.
Yeah, I mean,
You really hate the Penguin.
I fucking. You know what? I actually like the Penguin on Gotham.
Well, yes, but
I just think that he's a terrible character in a lot of ways because it's just like a rich dude that
He's a
likes
rich
penguins.
dude.
and
he
he
never fights.
You
You just ruined it. Let's move along.
can rely.
Who
on
is
that
Wildcat and
Penguin
how...
relies on the old pants money.
It's a bitch girl.
Oh, wow. This is good. Oh, keep going now. Now I'm intrigued.
I have been listening to a lot of Hall & Oates.
I was just gonna say,
feel
I'm like,
Is your Instagram just littered with photos of Hall & Oates right now?
Well, no, it's just the one.
he's a rich girl and it's gone too far, but I know it don't matter anyway.
All right.
been listening to a lot of Hall & Oates lately.
Do you guys know about this guy? He's called Hall & Oates.
He's Dutch.
He's crazy Dutch.
Oates. It's not just for breakfast.
Nice.
It's for Holland.
There are so many different tangents in there.
It's for dudes who really like to drive their diesels.
Colin, is there anyone you've encountered in your sort of brief run with comic books that you would think is a better or worse fighter than some of the people I named?
Ragman's girlfriend.
Yep. Okay.
Ragman's dad. Also not a great
Well,
fighter.
we know he's a bad fighter. Him and his buddies got electrocuted in an alley.
Yeah, they put up a big fight on that one.
yeah, fair enough.
Richard Dreyfuss, as I said before.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Barbara Gordon.
Martha Wayne.
No, Barbara Gordon, I think, could throw a punch.
That's unfair. Nora Allen.
Yeah, that's
You're just saying dead people now?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
a moment of silence for those who've watched.
Yeah, pour one out.
Yeah. Pouring over our dead homies. Who is Wildcat and how accurate was he portrayed on Arrow?
So we've already talked
still
about
from K-Cross 202.
We've already
For
talked
life.
about who Wildcat is. On Arrow, they did portray basically like a boxer, a fighting instructor who was becoming a vigilante on his own called Wildcat. But he was like younger. In the comics, because he's a JSA, he's the older generation. So even though he's still training new heroes, he's got gray hair. He's probably in his 50s or 60s, but he's in like crazy good shape. The one on Arrow was like clearly in his 30s, but he was training Laurel when she was becoming Black Canary on the show. So the aspect of him being a fighter, someone that was sort of like wrongfully accused of a crime, and also being the sort of mentor figure, that is all stuff they got right. But he's a way younger version, like generationally, that's totally different from the comic books. But I mean, all things considered, a relatively faithful adaptation for the most part, considering that show really goes sideways on some characters. Wildcat actually comes out of that pretty close to at least the broad strokes of his comic book origin.
Great answers.
Thank you.
Super, super solid. The ex-Doctor 91 asks, can you give a rundown of Karate Kid's origin and the big stories he was part of? God damn, this
I feel
Karate
like
Kid is getting all the love.
I feel like the X-Doctor 91 is like the reboot of the Dr. DC podcast from like the 90s. No, it would be like the X-Doctor 2000.
Yeah, because no year will happen after 2000.
That's right.
Yeah. Sorry.
The ex-Doctor 2K. Y2K.
In the year 2000.
Give it up to you in the year
2000.
Silver chair. Silver chair, yeah.
With arms wide open.
big stories that he was a part of. I'm not going to remember the name of it, but there was a big story where he and Princess Projectra, who was another member of the Legion of Superheroes, they end up together. They end up married. He becomes like the royal consort when she becomes ruler of her planet. But he ends up dying in this attack that's, I think, orchestrated by his archenemy, Nemesis Kid.
God, it's really making those names super simple.
The Legion of Superheroes is home to like some hilarious names, like Matter Eater Lad,
Karate Kid. What do you think I do? Nemesis. I guess what I am.
Saturn Girl, Lightning Lad, Chameleon Boy.
It's actually Chameleon Boy.
Chameleonaire Boy.
Thank you.
He was always riding dirty. So Karate Kid's origin is that he sort of sets out on an adventure basically to learn every single martial art. The way he gets into the Legion is that he challenges Superboy and fights him one-on-one, and so impresses him that Superboy vouches for his entry into the Legion. Like, I don't think he actually would have gotten in on his own.
Oh, wow.
But Superboy's like, no, like, you need this guy. He knows every martial art. He can face me in hand-to-hand combat, and he has no powers. You need to put him in the Legion. I'd say there's a couple of stories that involve Nemesis Kid. And there's one where he kind of gets like sort of framed for something as they're being inducted into the Legion.
Wait, what do you mean I did something wrong? What would possibly make you think that I did something wrong? Nemesis Boy? I mean, what? That's just my name. I don't understand why that would make you think that. It's
pronounced Nemesis.
Yeah, exactly.
Nemesis. Basically anytime Nemesis Kid shows up, it's probably a decent Karate Kid story. So there's one where they're being inducted into the Legion. There's this other one where Val ends up dying. He loses his life. Both of those are decent stories. I wish I could think of the names of them. I can't offhand. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
But I would definitely like check out any sort of story that has the Karate Kid in it. He's an interesting member of the Legion because he doesn't have powers. So it's cool to see him. He's from Earth. He's almost like our window into the Legion of Superheroes.
He also just looks like an Aryan prince as well, but
he looks pretty white.
Yeah. Blonde hair, blue eyes.
His mom is meant to be American or something like that. Because they're still in America somehow in the 31st century. They hadn't foreseen Trump at this point. I think if you were writing the Legion now, it'd be like, oh yeah, America hasn't existed in 1,000 years. But
that's why Star Trek is the best.
Yeah.
Super fun. Stump Chunkman gets the last question of the day.
Step into the stump Chunkman. Bleh.
You guys are the worst morning FM radio show ever.
Or do you mean the best?
Yeah. Anyway.
The best.
It's Jake and Mike McDonald in the morning.
Jake and Mike.
Yeah, man.
Mikey and Jake.
Mike.
Jake.
Hit us with the weather, man.
Oh, it's going to be sunny all day. Put on your glasses, hit the race, and go to the beach.
The 401 has got a lot of traffic today.
But do not worry, it's gonna be great.
New t-shirt?
Who was
it might need to be.
Oh, fuck, no.
Oh, my God, he's back.
Oh, no. Was the one character from Batman TAS
the animated series
that was the better fighter of the book, or did they Harley Quinn him? Hi, Colin?
So, yeah.
Fucking Instagram. God damn it.
Jesus.
I quit.
The
My God, that's all it took.
The question is you just said, is that character who was better than Batman? Was he from the comic books or was he?
It's a little bit
like
leading, isn't it?
Yeah, but I also don't 100% know which one he's talking about. The one that I thought he was talking about until it said him was there's a character called Red Claw that was this sort of like
Gadget.
She was this big, like almost like Amazonian framed kind of woman, but she was like a martial artist. I thought he was talking about Red Claw. I don't know specifically what one is.
Ooh, that claw.
I suspect in some cases there were characters that were just made up for the show. Or they were like inspired by characters from comic books. There are lots of comic book characters that could best Batman in hand-to-hand combat. So instead of just dwelling on the fact that I don't know specifically what character he's talking about, I will mention characters that I think could beat Batman in a one-on-one fight.
Okay.
They include Lady Shiva, Cassandra Cain,
Oh, Cassandra.
What?
So, Wayne's World.
Wow, I'm like just not picking anything up today.
I know, it's okay.
It's the heat, man.
And you've got a child.
Yeah. I know nothing anymore.
Yeah.
I've just been watching so much Teen Titans Go. If it's not in there, I just don't know it. Lady Shiva, Cassandra Cain, Richard Dragon, and then case by case basis, I would say even I would say Barbara case by case could probably beat Bats. I'd say The Question case by case could probably beat Bats. Bronze Tiger case by case could probably beat him. Ra's al Ghul, Talia. Just it depends on the circumstance of the fight. Maybe not regularly, but
given the opportunity, that's
it. I wouldn't read that and see them beat him and be like, "Oh, that would never happen." Like I'd buy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Richard Dragon, any of these like characters that would have trained Batman could reasonably beat him in a fight.
It's
I think
true.
the one that I wouldn't buy is Wildcat, even though he contributed some to Batman's training.
What do you mean? I could try to beat him.
If he kitty cat, he's kitty cat.
Come on, I'm a kitty cat. Meow meow. Yeah, you're a kitty cat, Wildcat. That's what I mean. I'm a kitty cat. That's right. You're gonna get him. Meow meow. Gonna be Batman.
I like that I asked you to like fill 30 minutes of the episode and you did it.
That's what I'm here for.
I think those are characters that reasonably, with relative frequency, could beat Batman. Possibly Deathstroke.
Really?
Not all the time. But like
Case by case.
But again, if he beat him, I wouldn't be like, that would never happen. This is bullshit. You're wrong. I'd be like, yeah, of course, it's Deathstroke. He could get the upper hand on Batman.
Seems like your opinion of Batman is pretty low.
Batman's still one of the best fighters in the DCU. I mean, there's billions of people in the world still in DC. I just think that he's not number one.
So who's your number one?
The fighter that can't be beaten?
Yeah.
Shiva.
Really?
Although, I mean, I know in comics she gets beaten, because it just happens. It's storytelling.
Yeah.
But really, who do I think the best fighter is? It's Lady Shiva until you reach the 31st century, and then it's Karate Kid.
Wow.
Yeah. But in like the present day, it would definitely be Lady Shiva.
Like now when like
when we are.
Yeah.
You know how like, hey Michael, you know like when we are?
Yeah, like right now.
Why is your Michael McDonald so much like me?
I just thought we were a morning show, so
wow, I'm really rubbing off on you, Michael McDonald of the Doobie Brothers.
That's right. Oh, there it goes. Now what's gone again? I can't get it back.
Amazing. I hope that answered your question.
We're back to the show. Those are some great questions. Thank you for listening.
This is what happens when you bring bombers of beer around the show.
I told you, the only thing that would suit me better is if you had brought in wine. That's the only thing that gets me like more loopy.
Yeah.
I'll remember that for next time.
I'm just saying. That's you give Daddy some white wine and he's gonna have a great night.
Don't say daddy.
What?
Yeah, you don't have kids.
I'm the daddy here. Don't worry.
I am the daddy now.
Look
at me.
That was kind of like Captain Phillips, but also a little bit of Schwarzenegger. Who's your dad?
We're going to play a game. It's called Who's Your Daddy and What Does He Do?
All right. If you want to ask, wait, what's the episode? What's next week's episode? Are we going to do?
Well, next week's episode is issue number 69. So the theme is going to be inappropriate moments. So
give us an example. What would be
like if you
besides this entire podcast
from cartoons or comics or movies, inappropriate jokes, double entendres, like panels that haven't aged well. We've talked about the first appearance of Catwoman where Batman says quiet or Papa Spank. Anything like that. Stuff that hasn't aged well or is kind of like lewd or like kind of sexy or like double entendre. Anything like that. That's the theme for next week because it's issue 69.
So dive into your parents' books, go into your back catalog. Let's hit Golden Age. Let's see what you guys got.
Oh my God, so much Golden Age I'm expecting.
Definitely. But I mean, you guys, you know what?
It makes me think of, I know it's a Marvel comic, but you've seen it where it's like, looks like you could use some hard dick from Iron Man. I guess like hard dick was like slang for like tough talk or whatever, or like real talk. He's like, you could use some hard
I'm
dick.
curious to know, like, even like more recent. So 10 points to Gryffindor for the first person that brings me something that's recent comic books and still inappropriate.
Yeah, in the last 5 years. Yeah.
I'm definitely curious. But if you want to send us questions for that episode, you can do so through many media formats such as
Facebook at,
Dr. DC Podcast.
Twitter at
Dr. DC.
No one uses Instagram anyways, so
Dr. DC Podcast.
don't forget our email, which is
drdcpodcast@gmail.com.
our website.
drdcpodcast.com or .ca.
Through that website, you can go to our merch booth
Yeah.
that's online.
I'm just going to name a bunch of things that I want Richard to make, but he like won't have time.
You'll find shirts like
Jake and Michael McDonald in the morning.
or
Morrison!
Zombie Colin Morrison shirt, the Edit Point shirt, because Speed Force, Jason
All of our
Momoa's-
faces on a towel.
Yeah,
you sit on our face.
Jason Momoa's mimosa samosas.
A lot of you guys loved those mugs. We're actually going to be putting out some more affordable products in the very near future. So you guys are going to see some
Lip balm.
Nope, that's what we got.
Yeah, we can't compete with our sponsor.
Yeah, no, but we'll have some stickers and things like that.
And things.
I'm-
And things.
I'm like fingers crossed. I'm waiting for something with Jean Valjean-Jean's on it.
Ooh. See, there's tons of idea. Also, if you guys want to send in some recommendations for merch that you might want to see, let me know. And
The Jack Hughes snooze button.
yeah, there's tons of stuff that is possible that I can make.
Yeah.
All through what is available on Teespring. But and then also make sure to go to iTunes. We've been getting tons of reviews. We're at like 20 reviews now. Super proud of you guys. You guys are doing great. We are getting so close to 52. When we get to that, Colin's going to read Superman for all seasons.
And if he does that, then I will. I don't know.
Fillet him.
No.
Congratulate. Fillet and congratulate.
Sorry, I got him to do the show in the first place.
The hell? I produced the show. What did I get?
Well, some kind of sign off.
Adios.
Oh, goodbye.
Yeah, that was great.
Thank you very much, my buddy Jake. Best friends forever. Oh, yeah.
What's happening?
Goodbye.
All the superheroes, they always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure, they are men of light.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.
Sound of music.
It's the sound of Michael McDonald.
So long,
so
farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye.
I thought you just said shalom. Shalom, farewell, and Wiedersehen, good night.
Look, I am to life.
Who's recording this?